I'm Matt Gaffner. I'm a solution engineer for DTN. I focus on our weather-based data services that come from our ArcGIS server stack.
Just how location data is important to so many industries, weather data is as important to many of those same industries. For that reason, DTN has invested a lot of time and effort to create ArcGIS-friendly data services for many of the industries that you see here. DTN does a lot of work in agriculture and refined fuels, but our weather business really focuses on our customers in offshore, electric utilities, renewable, transportation, along with public safety in general. DTN is a big weather company with 24/7 operations. We've got over 120 forecasters worldwide that are talking to customers all over the globe, whether they're in the middle of the ocean or halfway across the world. We have over 90 different weather data services that are hosted on our ArcGIS server, and we've been an Esri business partner for over 15 years.
Weather is really important because weather is the state of the atmosphere. It's everywhere, and I think it really plays well with Esri's tagline of the science of where, because weather is kind of the science of everywhere. When you look at the impact of weather on business, from 1980 to 2020, there were an average of $7 billion weather events. And in the last 5 years, from 2016 to 2020, we've seen that number grow to $16 billion events per year. So it's something that's becoming increasingly impactful on business. And some studies have found that about 95% of businesses are using weather data in some capacity. And so I think what's really important is not only understanding why weather is important, but understanding why it's important where the weather data that people are using, where it comes from.
Esri's Living Atlas is a great resource for ArcGIS users and has a number of weather-related data services available. The National Weather Service watches and warnings are available on the Living Atlas, and the item description page has a lot of great information about that data service. It's marked as authoritative because it comes from the National Weather Service, their sample data, and it notes the update frequency at 5 minutes. All of this stuff is important to know when considering what data services you're using and how the applications that you've created are being used in your organization. DTN provides the National Weather Service watches and warnings as well. However, the biggest difference is ours are really intended for the operational use of this data. It's redundant in that we get the data from an internet and a satellite feed. It's reliable as it comes from AWS, and it's very low latency. If we're talking about a winter weather watch, 5 minutes is not a big deal. If we're talking about a tornado warning, 5 minutes could be a very big deal. DTN provides all these data services as both map and feature service endpoints. So they're fast to display from the map service, and they're fully attributed with everything that the weather service provides. And the feature service provides the actual geometry, so it can be used for geospatial operations in addition to plugged into Esri's GeoEvent server very easily. In addition, you may have noticed that there's radar data available in the Living Atlas. This is a slider application that we created to show the difference between DTN's radar data and what's freely available. We're looking at the freely available radar data, and you can see that DTN's data has a lot less clutter. We do a lot of work to remove echoes that aren't actually precipitation. If you look at Nevada, you'll see that it looks like there's rain or storms that aren't actually there. We also include a precipitation mask, which shows whether it's rain, snow, sleet, or freezing rain. And this data is provided in a time-enabled way so that you can build animated loops of radar within the applications that you use in your organization.
DTN provides a number of different data services, and I kind of break them down into 3 categories. There's data services that are commoditized, there's data services that DTN adds value to, and then there's data services that are proprietary or unique to DTN. And so a lot of those commoditized data services are going to be things that you can find out there for free. We differentiate ourselves by obviously making them reliable, accurate, providing support for those data services and making them easy to use in an ArcGIS environment. That's what we're going to do with all of our data services. With data services that DTN adds value to, we do a lot of things like quality control, whether it's removing bad weather station data that comes in, or removing clutter from radar. We do a lot of work to make data that can be found out there for free better. And so, for instance, like radar data, we add a precipitation mask, so you know if it's rain, sleet, freezing rain, or snow, which is extremely important for customers, especially in utilities, transportation, anybody that can be impacted by winter weather. Those are our necessities. And then finally, our proprietary data services that we offer include things like lightning data. We can tell you where it's hailed and how big it was. We can tell you in real time where rotating storms have been, where a tornado might have been on the ground, along with how much rain has fallen. And so with all of those different data services across all three categories, there's all kinds of different use cases, and we serve customers across many industries. But some examples might include, with lightning data, we have a lot of our electric utility customers and wind farm operators that use that data to identify specific wind turbines that have been impacted by lightning, because a lightning strike to a wind turbine blade can cause a small amount of damage that over time can become catastrophic and costly. Not only costly from an equipment standpoint, but when it's not spinning, it's not generating electricity, which isn't generating revenue. And we have other electric utilities, for instance, that might use our precipitation analysis to identify areas that may have had a significant amount of precipitation, and they can use tools like Esri's GeoEvent server to do spatial analysis in real time to identify something like a substation that's received a bunch of rainfall, and then they can create an alert with GeoEvent server and then push that to their work order management system so that somebody can go out and check on that asset in real time. So we typically see people starting to use DTN's weather data services when they're starting to make operational business decisions. And a lot of it kind of depends on a customer's GIS journey and what parts of the ArcGIS platform that they're using. So if somebody's just got started with ArcGIS and they've got all of their assets on a map, it's always easy to start to show value to that investment in the ArcGIS platform by overlaying other data sets on top of that. And so weather is an obvious one because it impacts everybody everywhere all the time. So from there, we start to see people using things like Esri's ArcGIS operational dashboards and putting our weather data into those dashboards to help create a lot more situational awareness. So when severe weather, tropical weather, winter weather are impacting a business, they can use all that data matched up on an ops dashboard to make the best decisions. From there, we see a lot of people take our data services and stream them into GeoEvent server processes that they have running. So for instance, whether it's intersecting substations with rainfall data to figure out which ones might be subjected to flooding. They can use that to identify wind turbines that might have been struck by lightning. Or then we've also seen people take it and use National Weather Service watches and warnings and intersect that with GPS location data they have for trucks and employees in the field. And then to top it off, some of the more mature customers are not only using GeoEvent server, but they're using the different app builders that ArcGIS provides to create applications and story maps so that they can create kind of executive summaries, briefings to executives, and then just other ways to communicate across the enterprise the status of their business during severe weather. So this is a operations dashboard that we use as an example to show how customers can pull our weather data services into ArcGIS applications. And so this has a bunch of severe weather data coupled with a bunch of orange or red points that are supposed to simulate, customer data. So we've got all kinds of information here, from severe weather reports of tornadoes to real-time radar and real-time lightning, along with watches and warnings. This is a way that a lot of our customers are using our data in real time. So in this example operations dashboard, I've added probably some of our most popular data sets for situational and operational awareness. So I've got National Weather Service watches and warnings that have all the information that the Weather Service provides, along with our radar data and of course lightning data as well, to go on top of the radar data. So these three data sets are the most commonly used when our customers are creating an operations dashboard, whether it's actually using operations dashboard or if they've created their own map application for situational awareness. We see a lot of customers using these same data services with GeoEvent Server. They'll use National Weather Service watches and warnings as a way to get low latency data into their GeoEvent server. That data updates as the watches and warnings come out, so there's very little latency. On top of that, customers will also use the lightning data to alert where they have outdoor workers or if there are assets that they care about, like wind turbines, substations, and other lightning sensitive equipment. All of DTN's data services are published on our ArcGIS server, and so we provision those through our portal, and so it makes it super easy for any ArcGIS user to pull those data services into their ArcGIS Online, ArcGIS portal, or any other ArcGIS-based maps and applications that they have. The best thing about all of DTN's ArcGIS-based data services is you don't need to be a developer and you don't have to have a developer to use them. The ArcGIS platform is so interactive that you can copy and paste URLs and click and drag URLs to add data to a map. So, when I set a customer up with a trial, they can have our weather data on top of their, maps in a matter of minutes. Now, that being said, the beauty of ArcGIS is that all the data services that we provide have a full-blown API under the hood. So if you are a developer and you want to do deeper dives into the data or use it for all kinds of geospatial interactions or intelligence, you can do that too. But to get started, it doesn't take a developer to use these data services.